My mother is dying. If you let us stay, I can cook. What the Apache did that night would shake the entire town, but what May Wilder did not yet know was that stepping into the cabin of the most feared man in Silver Ridge would tear open a truth buried for 19 years, expose a murder long disguised as an accident, and force her to choose between the fragile safety of a lie and the brutal cost of the truth. Before the story unfolds any further, tell us in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? And do you believe that sometimes the people we fear the most are the very ones sent to save us? Arizona Territory, 1889, was not kind to the desperate. It swallowed the weak and moved on without a glance. And on one bitter evening, a young woman with nowhere left to turn was about to learn that the so-called monster her town whispered about was in truth her last chance at survival, and that the mother who raised her had spent nearly 2 decades protecting a secret that could get them both killed. For nearly 20 minutes, May Wilder stood frozen outside the Apache's cabin, her breath shallow, her courage fraying. She rehearsed the words in her mind, lost them, found them again, then questioned whether desperation was worth gambling her life. Her hands shook as she clutched the small bundle that held everything she owned: 2 worn dresses, a cracked hairbrush, and a single silver spoon. That spoon was sacred. It was the one thing she had refused to sell. It had belonged to her grandmother Lucille, the French woman who taught her how to cook, who showed her that food could be love made visible. That spoon carried every warm memory from before poverty hollowed their lives. But Silver Ridge only knew one story. They said the Apache Koa was dangerous, savage, unpredictable, a man who had murdered his own wife 3 years earlier and lived alone because no one dared go near him. No one could prove it, but no one tried. Koa lived beyond the edge of town in a cabin he'd built with his own hands. He traded furs and herbs, spoke only when necessary, and kept to himself. His silence unsettled people more than shouting ever could. Stay away from that Apache, Edith Moore had warned coldly at the boarding house, moments before throwing May and her mother out into the cold. He isn't civilized. He's not safe, especially not for young girls. I heard he let his wife bleed to death during childbirth. Some savage ritual, no doubt. That's not true, Walter Finch had said quietly. He'd been there. He'd seen it. Koa had fought to save her. A white doctor too, Walter added. Sometimes people just die. But folks around here always need someone to blame. Walter Finch was the only man in Silver Ridge who ever spoke in Koa's defense. Everyone else crossed the street when they saw him. Mothers pulled their children closer. Shopkeepers watched him with narrowed eyes. He was tolerated because his furs were valuable and his medicines worked, but never welcomed, never trusted. And now May, terrified, exhausted, out of time, was about to knock on his door and beg. Her mother, Eliza Gray, had been dying for 2 weeks. It began with a cough, then fever, then blood blooming scarlet against a white handkerchief. Soon Eliza could no longer stand, could not feed herself, barely speak. Consumption, the white plague, a slow, merciless death. And May had no money for help. Dr. Calvin Reed had come once. He charged $5 just to step inside. He examined Eliza, declared it tuberculosis, said there was nothing to be done, recommended rest, fresh air prayer, and demanded payment. May gave him their last $3. He took it and left without medicine or mercy. The church offered little more. Pastor Elijah Crow listened, prayed, brought 1 basket of food, then gently explained that charity had limits, that many families suffered, that perhaps May should consider marriage, maybe to an older man, a widower, someone practical, someone who might overlook her circumstances in exchange for her domestic skills. What circumstances? May asked, her voice sharp with restrained fury. Well, he hesitated. You're presentable enough. But you have no family, no dowry, no prospects. And your mother is ill. It's not an appealing situation. May left before she said something unforgivable, before she reminded him that Christ healed the sick without contracts. She searched for work everywhere: cleaning, washing, cooking, sewing. No one would hire a 19-year-old girl with a dying mother and no references. Samuel Chen needed workers, but 12-hour days meant abandoning Eliza. The hotel required live-in maids. Hank Mercer kept a shotgun behind his counter. Stealing meant jail. Jail meant Eliza dying alone. 3 days earlier, they'd been evicted. Edith Moore had been polite but firm. "I have other tenants. I can't run a charity." May understood. In a world ruled by money and power, she and Eliza had neither. They were expendable. They slept in an abandoned shed behind the church holes in the roof. No heat, no door. Eliza was dying there, freezing, suffocating, and May was watching it happen. She sold everything: a wedding ring, dresses, quilts, books, memories. The money lasted 3 days. So she came here, to the Apache, to Koa, because May could cook, truly cook. Her grandmother Lucille had taught her everything: how to turn scraps into feasts, how to stretch meals, how to heal with flavor. Lucille had always said cooking was alchemy, that food could mend souls, that a single good meal could change a life. "You have a gift," ma chère Lucille used to say. "Use it with love." Now it was all May had left, and with trembling hands she raised them to knock. Use it well. Use it to bring joy, to nourish, to love. Cooking is love made edible. Never forget that. May Wilder had never forgotten. Cooking was the only time she felt capable, worthy, whole. The only moments when the world stopped feeling cruel and chaotic. And now it was all she had left. Her final currency. The one thing she could trade for warmth, for shelter, for a chance at survival. She knocked softly at first, then again, louder when no one answered. Her heart pounded violently against her ribs, her palms slick with sweat despite the freezing air. "Please," she prayed silently. "Please let him be kind. Please let him help. Please don't let this be a mistake." The door opened. Koa stood there. May had seen him before at a distance, passing through the general store, riding silently along the edge of town, but never like this, never face to face. He was tall, well over 6 feet, with the solid, controlled strength of a man shaped by hard work and harder loss. His shoulders were broad, his build lean but powerful. Long black hair hung loose past his shoulders, framing a face carved with sharp cheekbones and a strong jaw. A pale scar cut across his left cheek, an old blade wound by the look of it. He would have been undeniably handsome if not for the severe, guarded expression he wore, like a man who had sealed himself off from the world and intended to keep it that way. His clothing was simple buckskin trousers, a plain cotton shirt, worn boots. Practical, well cared for, nothing flashy, nothing that suggested wealth. "What do you want?" His voice was deep accented, Apache mixed with years of careful English. Not hostile, not welcoming, just flat, emotionless, as if he had learned long ago that wanting led only to loss. May's voice failed her. She had practiced this speech 100 times, but standing before him now under the weight of his steady gaze, the words scattered. She swallowed and tried again. "I need help. My mother is very sick. We have nowhere to go, no money, no food. I don't know what else to do. I heard you live alone, and I thought, maybe if I worked for you, earned our shelter, I wouldn't ask for charity. I'd work. You do what? Not cruel. Just direct." "I can cook," she said quickly. "Really cook. Better than anyone in this town. My grandmother taught me, she was French. I can make meals that nourish, that matter. I can clean, organize, help with anything. Just let her stay. Until she gets better. Or until—" her voice broke. "Until she dies. Please. We'll die in that shed. She'll die. And I can't watch that happen when Maybe someone could help. Koa studied her in silence, really looked. At her thin frame, hollowed by weeks of hunger. At the patched dress, warm once but now worn thin. At her red, swollen eyes and trembling hands. Something shifted in his expression, not softness but recognition, as if he saw something familiar in her desperation. "Where is your mother?" he asked. "In the old shed behind the church," May whispered. "She can't walk, barely breathe. She needs warmth, medicine, food. I have nothing except this." She pressed her hands together. "Except cooking, and I'm offering it freely. Please. Help her. Help us." Koa said nothing for a long moment. May held her breath. Then he spoke. "Show me." Relief hit her so hard she nearly collapsed. Thank you. I swear I'll work. I'll earn our keep." "Show me," he repeated calmly. No interest in promises, only proof. They walked through town, May leading, Koa following silently. People stared, whispered, "Is that the Wilder girl with the Apache?" Heard her mother's dying. She shouldn't be alone with him. No one intervened. Because intervention required effort. Judgment was easier. The shed was worse than May had described. Half collapsed, roof sagging, walls gapped with missing boards. No door, only a torn curtain. Dirt floor. In the corner, Eliza Gray lay unconscious on a pile of rags, burning with fever, breathing in shallow gasps that sounded like the edge of death. Koa knelt beside her without hesitation. He touched her forehead, checked her pulse, lifted her eyelids, listened carefully to her breathing. Then his expression changed. Shock. Recognition. "Eliza," he whispered. "Eliza Gray." Her eyes fluttered open. When she saw him, fear flooded her face. No. May, run. Run." "I know you," Koa said hoarsely. 19 years ago. Denver. You worked for the Lancaster family. You were their governess. I worked nearby repairs. You brought me water. You spoke to me like I mattered." He looked at May. Understanding struck like lightning. "They said the baby died in the fire, but she didn't." His gaze locked onto May. "This is May Wilder. This is Elizabeth Lancaster." The world tilted. "I'm not," May whispered. "I'm nobody. I don't understand." "She's the daughter of Arthur Lancaster and Rose Lancaster," Koa said steadily. "They died in a fire 19 years ago. Their child survived because you ran." Eliza sobbed weakly. "It wasn't an accident," she gasped. "It was murder. Silas Lancaster killed them. I saw him. I took the baby and ran." May couldn't breathe. "You're my daughter in every way that matters," Eliza whispered fiercely. "But by blood, you are Elizabeth Lancaster, and your uncle murdered your parents. He stole your inheritance, and if he ever learns you're alive, he will kill you. He'll do anything to keep that fortune, anything to bury the truth. You're in danger, my love, terrible danger. And I don't know how to protect you anymore." Eliza Gray's voice trembled as blood stained her lips. Fear and exhaustion hollowed her eyes. She was fading and she knew it. Koa straightened his decision already made. "Bring her," he said firmly. "Both of them. To my cabin. Now. We'll get you safe, get you warm, get you fed. And then we talk about everything. About what comes next. About how to keep May Wilder alive." He lifted Eliza himself, his strength careful, deliberate. He held her as if she were fragile glass, precious and irreplaceable. "You saved her once," Koa said quietly to Eliza. "Let me help you save her again. You don't have to carry this alone anymore. You have help now. You have me." They walked back through town, Koa carrying a dying woman. May following close behind. Eyes watched from doorways. Whispers followed them. "He's taking her to his cabin. That poor girl, doesn't she know what he is? Someone should stop this." No one did. because stopping them meant involvement, and involvement was inconvenient. The cabin was small but solid, well built, clean, warm, more like a home than May had seen in months. Koa laid Eliza on his bed, the only bed, and stoked the fire until the space filled with real heat. Then he turned to the shelves lined with jars and leather pouches, choosing carefully. He brewed a dark herbal tea May didn't recognize and held it to Eliza's lips. Apache medicine, he explained. For fever, for pain, for breathing. It won't cure consumption, but it will help. Give you strength. Buy time. Drink all of it. Eliza obeyed, trusting him completely. When she finished, she looked up at him through tears. "Why are you helping us?" she asked weakly. "I gave you water 19 years ago. That was nothing. Common kindness. Not worth this." "It was everything," Koa said softly. "I was nobody then. Less than nobody. A savage doing labor no one wanted. Most people never even looked at me. But you did. You asked my name, asked about my family, shared your lunch when I had none. Small things maybe, but to someone invisible, they meant everything. I never forgot. And now I can repay that debt by protecting your daughter, by making sure your sacrifice meant something. Let me help." Tears streamed down Eliza's face. "You're a good man, Koa," she whispered. "A truly good man. I'm glad, so glad you're the one helping her. I can rest knowing she's with someone honorable, someone strong, someone who will fight." She turned to May with a gentle smile. "And you're going to cook something wonderful. Show him what you can do. Prove I raised someone extraordinary. Will you do that for me, sweetheart?" May nodded, unable to speak. She moved to Koa's kitchen, simple but functional. She found flour, dried meat, old vegetables, herb salt, bare essentials, and from them she made magic. She simmered soup that filled the cabin with warmth and comfort. She baked biscuits that rose light and golden. She created beauty from almost nothing. When Koa tasted it, he froze. This is extraordinary," he said quietly. "How did you make this from so little?" "My grandmother Lucille taught me," May replied. "To waste nothing, to find flavor everywhere. Cooking is how I show love, how I make the world better. It's the only thing I'm truly good at." "Then it's a powerful gift," Koa said, "and I'm grateful for the food, for the company, for not being alone tonight. I've been alone for 3 years, dead inside. And tonight I feel alive again." May looked at him, the feared Apache, the town's monster, and saw only kindness, only strength, only goodness. "Thank you," she whispered, "for saving us, for believing us." Their eyes held. Something passed between them. Recognition, connection, the quiet beginning of something neither had expected. Outside the town, whispered and plotted, decided that an Apache sheltering a white woman was dangerous, unacceptable. The battle was only beginning. The first 3 days at Koa's cabin were the most peaceful May had known in months. Eliza improved slowly. The medicine eased her fever, strengthened her breath. Not cured, but better, stronger, alive. May cooked 3 meals a day, each better than the last. She transformed the cabin into a place that smelled like home. "Where did you learn to cook like this?" Koa asked one evening. "My grandmother," May said. "She came from France 40 years ago, married my Irish grandfather. When he died young, she raised my father alone by cooking. She worked for wealthy families, fed strangers, taught my father everything. He wanted to open a restaurant someday. Then he met my mother, Eliza. He died before I was born. Grandma helped raise me, taught me everything she knew. Cooking was our bond. She used to say, 'Cooking is prayer, ma chère. When you cook with love, you feed souls.'" Koa listened without interrupting. "She sounds wise," he said. "My mother was like that. She taught me how to read the land, find water, survive. She said the earth gives us everything if we're willing to see it. I think our mothers would have understood each other. What happened to her? May asked. Cholera, Koa said quietly. 10 years ago. Took 20 people from our camp. I tried everything. Like your wife May said softly. Eliza told me, I'm so sorry. Koa's expression hardened. It was 3 years ago. I've moved on. No, May said gently. You're surviving, not living. There's a difference. I know because that's what I was doing too. They sat in silence, fire crackling. Eliza slept peacefully for the first time in weeks. Then Koa spoke again. The town came today, he said, while you were gathering wood. Sheriff Luke Barrett. 2 deputies. May's stomach tightened. What did you tell them? The truth, Koa replied. That you needed help. That I gave it. That everything here is proper. And they believed you. They think you're here against your will. That I'm taking advantage. They said an unmarried girl living with an Apache man is scandalous. Dangerous. They want me to send you away for your own good. May swallowed. And what did you say? I said you're free to leave whenever you choose. That I wasn't holding you prisoner. That if they truly believed I was such a danger, they should have helped you long before desperation drove you to my door. That made them angry, but I don't care. They're hypocrites. They let you and Eliza Gray starve in a shed. They watched you freeze and fade. And now that you're warm and safe, they suddenly care about propriety, about scandal. This isn't about protecting you, it's about control, about punishing me for being Apache, about preserving their comfortable prejudices. He was right. May Wilder knew he was right. Still, fear twisted in her chest. They'll cause trouble, she said quietly. They'll try to force me to leave. Let them try, Koa replied. You're an adult. You make your own choices. And if you choose to stay, if you want to stay, I'll support that. I'll protect that choice. He stopped then and looked at her, really looked with something raw and unguarded in his eyes. I want you to stay, he said. Not because you cook well, though you do. Not because you need help, though you do. But because you make this cabin feel like a home again. Because your presence makes me feel alive. I haven't felt that since my wife died. I know it's too soon. I know it's improper. I know we barely know each other. But May, I think I'm falling in love with you. May's breath caught. Koa! You don't have to feel the same, she said softly. I'm not asking for anything. I just needed you to know this isn't charity. It isn't obligation. For me, it's more. She moved closer, sat beside him, and took his hand. I think I'm falling in love with you too, she whispered. Since you carried my mother like she was precious. Since you made medicine to ease her pain. Since you were kind when the whole world was cruel. Since you saw me as a person, not a problem. I tried to tell myself it was gratitude, relief. But it's not. It's love, real love, the kind I never thought I'd find. The kind I didn't think I deserved. You deserve everything good, Koa said fiercely. Safety, love, happiness, all the things this world has denied you. And I want to give you those things. I want to protect you, love you the way you deserve, despite the danger, despite the secrets, despite Silas Lancaster wanting you dead. Especially because of all that. May, whoever you choose to be, I see you, and I love what I see. The cook, the daughter, the survivor, the woman who offers kindness even when she has nothing. That's who you are. That's who I love. They kissed carefully at first, then with growing urgency as restraint gave way. When they finally broke apart, both were trembling, both in tears, clinging to each other like survivors grasping lifelines. I love you, May whispered. I love you so much. I love you too, Koa said, more than I ever thought I could love again. You brought me back to life. From the bed, Eliza Gray spoke, weak but smiling. About time. I've watched you circle each other for days. I was starting to worry I'd die before you admitted it." They laughed soft, fragile laughter, like a family. Then the sound came. Horses, many of them, fast, determined. Koa moved to the window. His expression darkened. "The sheriff," he said. "8 men. This isn't a visit. They're coming to take you." He turned to May. "Do you trust me?" "Yes." "Then we're getting married now. Tonight. Apache ceremony. It's legally binding here. Once you're my wife, they can't take you. But understand this is real. Permanent. I'm asking you to marry me. Forever. Will you?" May didn't hesitate. "Yes. I want to be your wife. I want everything with you." Eliza struggled upright. "Then do it. Now. I'll witness. Marry her, Koa. Protect her. Love her. Give her the life I couldn't." They were married in 5 minutes. Simple. Sacred. Koa spoke the words in Apache. May repeated them. They clasped hands. Eliza blessed them. When the knock came, they opened the door as husband and wife. Sheriff Luke Barrett stared. "You married her just now." "I married her because I love her," Koa said calmly. "And because she loves me. We are husband and wife. Whatever you came to do, you can't do it now." "The town won't accept this," the sheriff protested. "They don't have to," May said firmly. "I chose this. I'm exactly where I want to be." The sheriff looked at her, really looked, and sighed. "I see. Congratulations." After they left, May collapsed, shaking. "That was close," Koa said quietly. "If we hadn't married, they would have taken you." Eliza smiled weakly. "You two are perfect." She coughed, blood staining the sheets. "I'm so happy. I can rest now." Over the next 2 days, Eliza faded gently, telling May stories of Arthur Lancaster and Rose Lancaster, of music books, kindness and love, of dreams stolen by betrayal. "They loved you so much," Eliza whispered. "They had such hopes for you." May held her hand as Eliza slipped away, peaceful, loved, finally free. "They died protecting you. Rose Lancaster carried you to the nursery when the fire began, kept you away from the smoke. Arthur Lancaster tried to break down the locked doors. They fought until they couldn't anymore. They loved you, May Elizabeth, more than anything." "They sound wonderful," May whispered. "They were," Eliza Gray said softly. "And you're like them. You have Rose's compassion and Arthur's mind, their goodness, their strength. I'm so proud of you, so proud of who you became despite everything, despite growing up poor instead of privileged, despite losing them. You're extraordinary, just like they were." Eliza died that evening, quietly, peacefully surrounded by love. Koa and May held her hands, prayed, and promised to honor her sacrifice. Her last words were a whisper. "Love her, Koa. Keep her safe. Give her the life she deserves. Promise me." "I promise," Koa said. "On my life." Eliza smiled once more and was gone. May sobbed. Koa held her, let her break, let her grieve. The woman who saved her was gone. The mother who protected a secret for 19 years had finally found peace. But the story was not finished. That same night, Silas Lancaster arrived in Silver Ridge, searching, hunting, following rumors of a young woman who looked like Rose, cared for by a governess named Eliza. After 19 years, he had found them. They buried Eliza on a hill overlooking the valley. A simple grave, a wooden cross, an Apache blessing, and a Christian prayer, honoring both her faith and her choices. A few townspeople came. Walter Finch, Samuel Chen, a young boy Eliza once helped. Most stayed away. Eliza had been poor, invisible. May stood by the grave, Koa's arm around her. "She was the bravest person I've ever known," May said. "She gave up everything for me. That's real love." "And her sacrifice wasn't wasted," Koa replied. "You're alive. You're loved. You'll honor her by living fully and fighting for justice." They returned to the cabin exhausted, united. Then came a knock. Hard. Demanding. Koa opened the door. A man stood there, mid-50s. Expensive suit, cold eyes. Power radiated from him. "I'm looking for Eliza Gray," he said, "and her daughter." He stopped when he saw May, his face drained of color. "Rose." "No, that's impossible." Understanding struck. Rage followed. "Elizabeth, you're alive." May stepped forward. "I know exactly who I am. I'm May Wilder Elizabeth Lancaster, daughter of Arthur and Rose Lancaster. And you're Silas Lancaster, my uncle, the man who murdered my parents." Silas laughed bitterly. "You can't prove it." "We can," Koa said calmly. He produced documents, court records, financial ledgers, witness statements, insurance papers. "New investigators are reviewing everything. There's a warrant for your arrest." Silas lunged for May. Koa moved faster, intercepted him. They crashed to the floor. A knife flashed. Blood stained Koa's shoulder, but he disarmed Silas and pinned him down. "It's over," Koa said coldly. Deputies entered with Sheriff Luke Barrett. "Silas Lancaster, the sheriff said you're under arrest for murder fraud and attempted murder." Silas was dragged away, screaming. "You should have died in that fire." May met his gaze unshaken. "No. Justice is coming. 19 years late, but it's here." Silas was jailed, tried, convicted, sentenced to hang. After he was gone, May collapsed. Koa caught her, despite his wound. "It's over," he said. "You're safe." The trial lasted 2 months. The verdict was final. May inherited everything: the Lancaster fortune, properties, businesses. Millions. She stood in the Denver courthouse as the will was read and felt. Nothing. The money didn't matter. The wealth didn't matter. None of it could bring back her parents. None of it could bring back Eliza Gray. None of it could erase 19 years of fear and hunger. Koa stood beside her. "What do you want to do with all this?" he asked. "You could go anywhere, do anything, be anyone. What matters to you?" "I want to go home," May Wilder said simply. "To Silver Ridge, to our cabin, to the place where you saved me, where I fell in love with you, where Eliza died in peace. That's home. That's where I belong. Everything else, money, property, status, none of it matters. You matter. Our life together matters. That's what I want." "You're sure?" he asked, concern flickering. "You're giving up so much: your inheritance, your place in society." May shook her head. "I'm not giving up anything. I'm choosing what matters. Love over money. Purpose over status. Real life over pretend luxury. And the fortune." Koa pressed. "I want to use it for good," she said. "A hospital in Silver Ridge. A school. Helping people like Eliza helped me, like you helped us. I want to honor them by making the world better. Can we do that together?" "Yes," Koa said, pulling her close. "Yes, we'll build it all together. Honor Eliza, your parents, everyone who loved you, by creating something meaningful, something beautiful, something that matters." They returned to Silver Ridge, to their cabin, to life itself. Slowly, steadily, they transformed the town. A hospital that treated everyone regardless of race or wealth. A school where children of all backgrounds could learn. A community center where Apache and white families gathered, shared meals, shared stories, shared humanity. At first, the town resisted. Complaints, criticism, condemnation. A rich heiress marrying an Apache, choosing equality and justice over privilege. But over the years, hearts softened. Love proved contagious. Kindness spread. When people were treated with dignity, they began to treat others the same way. May Wilder cooked every day. She opened a small, humble restaurant, affordable, excellent, a place that nourished body and soul. Apache and white families ate side by side. Friendship and trust grew with every meal. Her cooking became legendary. People traveled from Denver just to taste her creations. The restaurant was named for the woman who survived everything and chose love. 3 years after Eliza Gray's passing, May stood in her kitchen, pregnant, smiling, preparing dinner for the evening's guests. The restaurant was full: farmers, merchants, Apache families, white families, everyone together. Koa came up behind her, arms around her growing belly. Eliza would be so proud, he whispered. I hope so, May said. I try to live in a way that makes her sacrifice meaningful, that makes my parents' deaths count, that builds the world they would have wanted. A world where people are valued for who they are, not for wealth or background. You've done that, Koa said, here in this restaurant, in this town. You've proven love is stronger than hate, that one brave, determined, loving person can change a community. Their daughter Clara was born 3 months later, named for both mothers, both women who sacrificed for love, both heroes who protected everything. She had May's eyes and Koa's dark hair, a perfect blend of both worlds. Holding her daughter for the first time, May thought of Eliza Gray, the woman who saved her from fire and poverty, who died protecting a secret. I'll raise her the way you raised me, May whispered. With love, with sacrifice, with the understanding that family isn't just blood. Family is choice, commitment, showing up every day and choosing love no matter what. You taught me that, Mama. I'll teach her too, I promise. 2 years later, a son Owen was born, named for May's father, honoring the blood she carried and the legacy she protected. Then another daughter, May, completed the circle, honoring all who had loved her. The children grew up bilingual, bicultural, comfortable in both Apache and white worlds. They understood both, bridged both, and proved people could belong to multiple communities, could create something beautiful from different traditions. May's restaurant became a landmark, a symbol of what Silver Ridge had become, a place where differences were celebrated, where love overcame prejudice, where one woman's courage changed everything. Every week, May climbed the hill where Eliza Gray rested, bringing flowers, speaking to her mother about her life, her children, her happiness, her gratitude. You saved my life twice, Mama, May said, sitting beside the grave, once from the fire, once from despair. You gave up everything so I could have everything. I promise I'll never waste it. I'll live fully, love deeply, help generously. I'll be the woman you raised me to be, the woman you believed I could be. Thank you for loving me, for protecting me, for being my mother when I needed one most. I love you forever. The town, which once feared Koa, now respected him, recognized him as the hero he always was. And May Wilder, the girl who begged for shelter at an Apache's door, became the woman who proved that sometimes our greatest blessings come from our most desperate moments. Sometimes the people we fear most are the ones sent to save us. Love, real love, crosses boundaries, survives hardships, and transforms everything it touches. One simple question: can I cook if you let us stay? Led to the most extraordinary answer: yes. Stay, cook, love, live, build, become. Together, always. And with that, May and Koa began the next chapter of their life, their next adventure side by side forever. All stories are created for entertainment purposes and may include fictional elements or dramatized interpretations inspired by historical settings. We use AI tools, voiceover visuals, scripts as creative assistants. However, all content is reviewed, refined, and edited by humans to ensure emotional authenticity and storytelling quality. We fully comply with YouTube's policies regarding AI-generated content and do not use any deepfake techniques or misleading recreations of real individuals. All visuals and supporting materials are properly licensed. Sharing, re-uploading, modifying, or distributing any part of this content in any form requires written permission. We appreciate your support and respect for original creative work.